So I'll record a session with Claude Cowork, the AI agent, which is basically where really truly the work of the project gets done. And when I have a session with Claude Cowork, the AI agent, I have prepared a session agenda. This will be session 13. I won't record everything because this goes on for an hour or two, but just to give you a flavor of what happens is you have a session agenda and it's broken out into prompt activities. A little bit of background about the first prompt activity for July 13th, session 13. One of the big milestone events is to build out the step 5 in this overall application so that we have a chart of accounts, trial balance, and inventory control. I also started to think about, can I include industry benchmarks in the PDF report of the application? And I uploaded the chart of accounts because the chart of accounts has to tie back to the benchmarking because that's where it captures the data. In the process of having this late night session with Claude Code, I uploaded the chart of accounts and it looked at the chart of accounts and it said, I think you've got some issues with the COA, stands for chart of accounts, COA chart of accounts model. And when it looked at that, it came back with several defects, about 5 or 6. Like like for example, if you're a C corporation, you may need to include a tax payable general ledger account to accrue taxes which are not paid until the following year. So there were a few gaps, not many, but the fact is it caught a few things. And now when I revisit the requirement specifications in the bill for step 5, because I already had it figured out over the last 2 weeks, but now I got a few little wrinkles and I need to kind of make AI agent and Claude Cowork aware of this. So what you do, you go in and you'll have to install Claude Cowork, has to be installed on your computer. And the AI agent and the Claude Cowork is real. This is really truly where a lot of this starts. So what you will do is I'll say may start session 13, see attached SOP, standard operating procedure. And the thing is, every time you have a session with the AI agent and Claude Cowork, you're onboarding a new agent. So there has to be continuity with this. And the project folders in the root directory has these onboarding documents, including this. You can see this is a very recent session SOP. It gets updated a lot. So I want to make sure it knows what the hell's going on. It's like onboarding a new employee. Every time you have a session, you got to onboard it. And it takes a while to get acclimated and figure out what the hell's going on, including looking at the session notes from last time and everything else. So this is what happens when you do this. So you can understand what exactly the workflow will be, how I'm going to, what am I going to do on this session. So I'm interacting with the AI agent and Claude Cowork, and it will need access to all the project files. So one of the things it doesn't have access to the OneDrive where all the project folders are at. So another thing is you got to give it access to all the project folders and files so it can execute and help you manage the entire software development project. So this is the first thing you go through when you have a working session with Claude Cowork and the AI agent, and this is where a lot of the software development action takes place. And we may or may not interact with the super agent, which is over the hosting platform. And again, a lot of the work, 13 communication rules are established between me and how we communicate. What happened in the last session 12 so I can understand what the hell's going on. And you got to give it some time to get acclimated and figure out what's going on. It's like onboarding a new employee for your project team. That's literally what you're going to do. And then we'll go through the prompt activities for session 13 to make progress on building out the requirement specifications in the bill for step 5. But it's got to get acclimated. It's got to know what's going on. It's a new employee. And there's a lot of session activity in between because I built out some additional artifacts. I went through and looked at benchmarking. I produced a new marketing document. I also produced a guidance document on how to adjust the out years. So what you're doing is you're producing some additional requirements and artifacts in between the sessions to move the project forward. So a lot of work goes in between the sessions. Okay. Change order, it's referencing some change orders from session 11. Due date, column type consistency. So if it, because project is very dynamic and is trying to make sure all the artifacts, all the things are in lockstep and are consistent. So there's lots of dynamics going on. And it takes a little bit of time. It's got to figure out what's going on. Closed. It looks for defects and issues, both remote fixing now with a snapshot. Now it goes through what is on the agenda today. Session 13 has prompt activities to see what's going on. And the first prompt activity has to do with the build out of step 5, the chart of accounts, trial balance, inventory control, and there's some defects that Claude Code uncovered. 4 prompt activities. It's got to know what's on the agenda today so I can understand what I'm going to be doing today. Oh, yeah. I did create a PDF file for the design architecture. Yeah. Maybe I have a different path. I did change a few folders and files, not much. Because the PDF file before had a lot of white space on it, then I had Claude Code clean it up and create a single page PDF of the architecture. It was a little bit of so sometimes you clean up a few artifacts. Onboarding, it's getting acclimated. Notice, and we're getting ready to execute on the prompt activity 1 in session 13 with the AI agent on Claude Cowork. And we may or may not be interacting with the super agent. Updated the backlog tracker document. You're clearly done a lot. Did a lot of work. Yeah, we do a lot of work on it. COA stands for chart of accounts. The Claude session and prior statements. Okay. So now it's now fully onboarded, and we'll run one activity at the time and stop. Before it was running all the activities all at once, which was just confusing to me. So another business rule I put in place is just close out one prompt activity. Let me review it before you go to the next one. Okay, so what we'll do is now we'll start PA, prompt activity 1, which is related to updating change order 44 to build out step 5, the chart of accounts and the trial balance and inventory control, because Claude Code caught a few defects. Now, they're not significant, but they need to be addressed. Okay. And it changes the change order and the build a little bit. It makes it a little bit more robust and complete. And it needs to take that into account. So now it needs to go through and digest all this. Defects to change forward for a bill specification. I started to do the benchmarking document, but we came across. So this is what happens in the dynamics of a software project. I mean, you're going to be juggling multiple plates sometimes, and you keep all the plates spinning, and it moves and it moves and it moves. And we got all 4 input apps completely done. They're almost really done. I'm trying to get the next step 5 done. The 4 input apps are really, really essentially done. I'm just in the process of doing functional testing, and I can't really do functional testing until we build out this next step. So there's a total of 10 defects that it disclosed. And it was reviewing the chart of accounts workbook file. And it revised it. And that's driving a lot of what's in step 5 application is the chart of accounts workbook. That's the structure. So when you build software, you're going to have tables and structure. So this is a PM is project manager. So Claude code, 10 defects. I reviewed it, tried to resolve it with a session that was 2 hours long at 2 o'clock in the morning, which I have a video presentation on. There's actually a video presentation that I actually explain how that works if you want to go look at it. Added account 2500. So all general ledger accounts have a series. Like typically like a 1000 series might be assets, 2000 series might be liabilities, 3000 series might be equity. So there is a naming convention that you follow with general ledger accounts that build out the chart of accounts, which captures all financial transactions to generate the financial statement, so you understand. There's a common structure that financial professionals build out when they do this exercise. I won't record this entire co-work session because it's going to go on for a couple of hours or so. But see, this gives you a flavor of what goes on in a co-work session with the AI agent and you, the PM, the project manager, in building out the software application. So I'll just go ahead and I'm going to close this out. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of